Picture this. It's the ultimate dessert fantasy. You've got perfectly sweet, warm, glossy bananas bathed in this incredibly fragrant syrup, and contrasting beautifully right on top is a rich, slightly salty, velvety coconut cream. I mean, it is absolute heaven on a plate. But for a lot of beginners, trying to recreate this traditional Thai dessert at home quickly turns into a bit of a nightmare. Instead of getting that beautiful, intact fruit, they end up with this dark, mushy, kind of unappetizing banana stew. Well, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to bridge that gap. We are breaking down the absolute essential techniques you need to create flawless, restaurant-quality candied bananas right in your very own kitchen. Okay, let's dive into our recipe blueprints. We'll start with the Candied Banana Challenge. Move into essential prep and lime water, then tackle the slow syrup simmer, followed by that thick, creamy coconut topping, and we'll wrap up with the perfect sweet balance. Don't worry if you're a beginner. This is really just a series of totally manageable steps. Let's get into it. Starting off with Section 1, the Candied Banana Challenge. Okay, so this is literally where the battle is won or lost, well before you even turn on the stove. For this recipe, picking the right fruit is absolutely crucial. You have to use lady finger bananas. And see the ones on the left? Those firm, slightly green ones are your best friends here. Because they aren't fully ripe yet, their cellular structure is still incredibly robust. And that means they're going to hold their shape perfectly when we drop them into a boiling hot syrup. Now, if you use very ripe bananas, like the ones on the right, the intense heat and the sugar will just cause them to rapidly break down. They'll turn completely black and mushy during the simmer, and nobody wants that. So, grabbing ladyfinger bananas that are firm and just shy of being fully ripe is your mandatory first step for that beautiful texture. Moving right along to Section 2, Essential Prep and Lime Water. Now here is where we introduce the foundational secret of Thai dessert making, lime water. And just to be super clear right out of the gate, this is not the juice squeezed from a green lime. Please don't do that. It will completely ruin the dish. Culinary lime water in this context is the clear liquid you pour off from a mixture of red lime paste and water. The chemistry behind this ancient technique is actually fascinating. You see, the red lime paste contains calcium hydroxide, and the calcium ions in that clear liquid interact with the pectin in the fruit, essentially reinforcing its structure. It literally firms up the outside of the banana and stops the oxidation process dead in its tracks. That means your bananas won't turn that unappetizing dark brown color. So, how do we actually pull this off? First, you dissolve your red lime paste into some water. And this next part is absolutely critical. You have to let it settle completely until all that heavy paste drops right to the bottom of the bowl. For step 2, you very carefully pour off only the clear liquid sitting on top. You definitely don't want any of that gritty paste in your final mix. Then, step 3, just add a little pinch of salt into that clear liquid and stir it up until it dissolves. You want to have the seasoning bath completely prepared before the bananas even touch it. All right, once your lime water is good to go, it's time to prep the fruit. Peel those slightly green ladyfinger bananas and meticulously pull off all those little dark strings. Honestly, those strings just look messy when they're cooked, so pull them all off for a really pristine presentation. Next comes the magic phase. Submerge them entirely in the prepared lime water and let them soak. Now, why exactly 30 minutes? Because that is the absolute sweet spot to guarantee a flawless, firm texture without messing with the delicate, natural taste of the banana. After that half hour, drain the bananas completely. They are now armored up and completely ready for the extreme environment of boiling syrup. Which brings us to Section 3, the slow syrup simmer. Now that our bananas are structurally sound, we're moving into the core phase where we build that sweet, beautiful flavor profile. We're putting together a simple but highly aromatic syrup using sugar, water, and fragrant pandan leaves, which, if you haven't used them, give this distinct, incredible Southeast Asian vanilla-like aroma. But what's really interesting about this slide is that last bullet point, a squeeze of fresh lime juice. Why on earth would we add sour citrus to a sweet syrup? Well, it's a brilliant little bit of food science. The acid from the lime juice actually stops the sugar from crystallizing as the water evaporates out. It ensures your syrup stays perfectly smooth and brilliantly glossy for the entire cooking process. Once your syrup comes to a boil, you're going to lower the heat, gently slide the bananas in, and you just have to remember this simple quote: take your time, be patient. You really cannot rush this. You want to maintain a very gentle low heat simmer for roughly 1.5 to 2 hours. If you try to speed run this with high heat, it'll violently agitate the fruit and literally tear it apart. By taking your time, those bananas are going to thoroughly cook from the inside out. They'll slowly turn translucent, soaking up all that gorgeous pandan-infused syrup until they hit this deep, stunning red hue. And during this long simmer, your job is incredibly easy. You just gently stir, treating the whole thing like a low-heat bath. You're simply coaxing the fruit along, making sure every single inch is completely enrobed in that bubbling liquid. The heat slowly transforms the raw fruit into a tender, deeply sweet masterpiece, locking all that goodness in without ever breaking the banana apart. Next up, Section 4, thick, creamy coconut topping. Now, look, a plate of candied bananas is great, but it is fundamentally incomplete without the crown on top. Getting this coconut cream right totally separates the amateurs from the pros. So follow this sequence meticulously. Step 1, mix your coconut milk, salt, and a tiny bit of rice flour completely off the heat. Why does doing it off the heat matter so much? Well, if you drop flour straight into a hot liquid, the starches instantly clump up and you're left with a lumpy, weird cream. By mixing it cold in step 2, you can stir it until it is perfectly smooth and utterly lump-free. Once it's completely smooth, then we move to step 3. Put it on a low flame and simmer gently. As that flour cooks, the coconut milk thickens up beautifully, becoming rich, fragrant, glossy, and truly restaurant quality. And finally, Section 5, the perfect sweet balance. This is the payoff. This is where all of our careful prep, the cool food science of the lime water, the patience of that 2-hour simmer, and the cold mixed coconut cream all come together. Sweet, glossy bananas meeting a rich, slightly salty coconut cream. Just imagine plating those warm, tender ladyfinger bananas, beautifully translucent and glistening in that deep red syrup. Then, you take a ladle of that thick, aromatic coconut cream and just give it a generous, heavy pour right over the top. The saltiness of the cream hits your palate first, and it's immediately followed by the rich, floral sweetness of the syrup-soaked banana. The contrast in textures, the firm yet yielding fruit against that velvety sauce, it really is just a masterclass in culinary balance. You see, when you break a recipe like this down into focused, intentional steps, what seemed like an impossibly complex dish is actually completely within your grasp. You've mastered the foundational prep, the patience required for that perfect long simmer, and the specific technique for a flawless, creamy topping. So I'll leave you with this. Now that you know the secrets of the perfect simmer and the absolute magic of lime water, what traditional dessert will you conquer next? Thank you so much for joining me in this explainer. Get into the kitchen, use these techniques, and keep learning.